This is the 2024 GMC Yukon Denali. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. Carrie is behind the camera, and we borrowed this Yukon from our friends at Morgan Buick GMC here in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more about this model or anything else they have in inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. Let's take a look at what we have here. Obviously, if we start out with the front end here, we see a very bold look. It looks large and in charge, so to speak. Maybe that's overused terminology, but it sure fits in this particular case, not only with the overall size and dimensions of the headlight housing, which everything here is going to be LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. We'll also have LED fog lights down here. Quite a bit going on where that's concerned. A lot of lights, but those large headlight housings, or I should say a lot of LED lights, let's get that right. The nice large grille. Now I'd love your feedback on this. Some of you would rather have maybe a different finish than what we have here. Some like it, some don't. It just depends on who you are. Well, tell me what you think. The GMC logo here in red, and in this particular case, against the Summit white exterior color, I think that works. And then right down here, we're going to find our forward-facing camera. That's going to have a lot of advantages in a lot of situations. Still wondering why GMC has not added any kind of a front camera washer on these models. And we come around, and I'll let Carrie give you a look at the tires and wheels. As far as your size goes, the width is going to be 275. Your sidewall size will be a 50 series, and those are 22-inch wheels. You do have a spare tire that is located underneath the rear of the vehicle. And here is your remote. No changes, obviously, for 2024, but for those of you who might not have seen, well, here's what you have. Obviously, you have a remote start. That's a big deal for a lot of people. And we'll continue on with the turn signal indicators built into these power adjustable, heated, and power folding side view mirrors. You can see blind spot monitoring is built in there. And there's a couple of different ways that you can use your power folding functionality. I'm going to push that button without pushing it twice. There we go. We'll get those to work for you. And obviously when you lock the vehicle, they're going to fold in or unfold when you unlock the vehicle. And if you want, you can go into the infotainment screen and actually have a setting where you can determine if they just lock or fold automatically when you lock the vehicle. Speaking of locking and unlocking, so we get rid of that tongue twist, a combination here with chrome and your body color on your door handles. That button right there that is not only on the front door handles, but also here on the rear, is a real help, especially for people who have you parents out there that are coming back here first, whether it's for your little kids in the car seats or your big teenagers that need a lot of looking after, or maybe your friends too. Passive entry, you can lock and unlock all four doors from the rear doors or from the front doors. And as you probably already saw, there are your power assist steps. Obviously on this trim level, that's really something you would expect to find, especially in a higher price point range. And I like the fact that when the doors close, they don't immediately go back under the vehicle. They stay out for a few seconds. That way, if somebody needs to jump out or jump back in quickly, not a big deal. And as we come back here to the rear, we're gonna have the, I think, well-shaped, because it doesn't come down, it follows the lines of the body, rear roof spoiler, kind of a squared off look. I do like the fact that the rear window wiper is tucked away within that area. That's a good thing. Your LED tail lights, you're gonna have your quad tip exhaust back here. And something that's interesting that I really like here, this is hands-free. Now, it's a little bright out here, so you can't see the logo shining down here, but one thing you can do is actually wave your foot under there or kick under there to open this up. Now, I do want to show you a very important little trick. I'm going to close this. Let's say that you come back here and you do that, or you hit the button on the remote, or even right here, the button within the tailgate itself, and it doesn't open. I'm gonna have Carrie go ahead and hop into the passenger seat. We're gonna show you the trick to fixing that. It's most likely going to be this easy. So here's where you're going to come. Right here to the upper console. And you're going to focus on this control right here. You'll notice that it's set to full. You can set it to 3/4, or you can set it to off. And that is most likely what the situation is if you can't get that tailgate to open. Under the hood of this particular model, the largest engine option available if you want all the horsepower and that great V8 sound, it's the 6.2 liter 420 horsepower V8. It makes 460 on the torque. It's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And I don't think anyone is going to be surprised to find out that you don't have the greatest gas mileage in the world. Let's face the facts. That's a big, thirsty motor and a very large SUV, but that's okay. So just so no one says, why didn't you tell us what the gas mileage is? I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. So we're looking at 14 city, 20 highway, 16 combined. And ironically, with that 6.2 liter V8, 6.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And I like to come around to where the gas tank is just to give you a little more information, because I know not everybody shares this in these review videos. So we're going to have capless fuel fill. Tell me what you think about that. Do you like capless fuel fill, or would you rather have an old school gas cap? Does it really matter? But if you're curious to know, it's a 28-gallon gas tank. And you can tell that I obviously switched things back to full so that I could open this power tailgate. Now, if you need to know, you can still open that manually if the battery dies. So you don't have to worry about what to do in that particular case. You just hit the button on the back and it pops up and you just open it manually. No big deal. Towing, 7,300 to 7,800 pounds, and cargo space, depending on how things are configured back here, can range between 41.5 up to 144.7 cubic feet. Here underneath the floor, in fact, let me go over to this side just to make things easier. You're going to not only find some space, and I like the fact that that just stays open without you having to hold it, you also have the tools right there to change a tire if you ever need to. And as far as configuring the rear area back here, obviously you have the third row back here. You have the buttons right here that will allow you, let's see if we can get that to work for us. Having a little trouble with that. I guess it's cold today, so they're not real happy to work real fast. The good thing, you can say, uh-oh, what happened there? Well, you know what we can do? I can hit the buttons, which these two buttons will control those middle seats. Now you'll notice there's a difference between this set of buttons and this set. What is it? With those middle row seats, you can only put them down automatically, but you'll have to raise them back up manually. But we can go ahead and finish this process right here. Hopefully, come on, there you go, wake up. There we go, now everything's maximized. It is a little chilly out here this morning, but I know a lot of people like to see how everything looks maximized back here with cargo space. There is a ton of it. You have some tie downs back here in case you need to do that, tie something down cargo space wise, and I think Carrie can give you a pretty good view. We'll give a few different views of the panoramic sunroof. You do have a shade, a power shade you can draw forward if you need to keep from getting the interior too warm when it's not a chilly day like it is today in Northwest Louisiana. Well, let's talk about what your second and third row passengers are going to find. Now, there is a ton of leg space for third row passengers, but as you can see, based on these two seats and their positions, you can move these seats back and forth, and those levers on the side of the seat, that front lever is the lever that you use to move the seat back and forth. The rear lever, why it says ×2, watch this. So what I'm going to do is hit it once and then hit it a second time, and the seat gets up and out of the way. I really like that. So what I'm going to do is hop back here into the rear seating area, and we might need to move this seat out of the way for Carrie for his view. I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. Whoops, I think I kind of bothered him right there. Didn't mean to do that. Did I scare you or surprise you? Okay, now you can see me really well. So here's the thing. The seat can come all the way back here. Still plenty of leg room. You have the pass-through right here, so you know somebody could stretch out or at least stretch one leg out if they wanted to. But I'm gonna tell you what, there is a lot of space back here. 5'10", you can see I have space above my head. I am sitting basically straight up. Now, you start to get over 6 feet, yeah, you might want to sit in the second row or call shotgun, but still a lot of space back here, a lot of breathing room. And as far as what we have over here on the side, we're gonna have a cup holder on each side, a little bit of space behind that. I guess you could put a square cup or bottle in there. And there is a USB port as well. And one thing I like here is the fact that if somebody forgets about these third row passengers, there's a release on the back of the seat right here that you can pull on. And the good news, when I do that, here's what's going to happen. I just pull on that once, pull on it a second time, and I can hop right out. And here's something I'd love your feedback on. In fact, we recently reviewed a Toyota Sequoia. We may even park those side by side in a future video. Would you like to see that? But one of the big differences I noticed between the two, among many things, has to do with the armrests on these middle row seats. On the Sequoia, you can actually click up basically wherever you want that armrest to be. Here on the Yukon, it just stays in one place. What are your thoughts about that? Always curious to know what you think. And another look at the panoramic sunroof right here, just so you can see what's there. And we'll take a look at the door panel over there on the passenger side so that you can see. We'll let Carrie determine whether or not that is a comfortable armrest. We'll see. Okay, thumbs up, apparently it must be. We don't like to poke on that as if we're testing for the doneness of a steak. Obviously, you can open and close the window with the control right there, power windows, obviously in all four doors. And the nice large upper and lower door bins. I like that. The fact that you don't really have a big difference in size from front to rear door like you do on most vehicles, but that's an advantage of a full-size SUV. And the grab handle up there is useful for hopping in and hopping out. Even with the assist steps down there, that's a good thing. Now we will find some cup holders here within the rear of the center console, but there's a lot more here than just that. Kind of a nerve center of sorts, a lot of controls. You have the third zone of climate control that you can control back here for your rear seat passengers. You can change the fan speed, you can change the temperature, you can turn on the heated seats, 3 different stages for these middle row seats. And then we have a couple of USB options, and there's also the power outlet. And now it's time for the moment that I know a lot of you have been waiting for, the price. How much is it? Well, we still have a lot more to show you here, but $86,349.95. Now, if you come in and buy this Yukon at Morgan Buick GMC, I'll give you the 95 cents just to help you get over the hump. So let's see what you get if you're going to be a passenger. We'll start with the door bin or the door panel over there that has door bins, but obviously a very similar look to what we saw with the rear seat or the rear door area. One thing that I think would be nice as far as that wood grain look up there, that's all it is. It's a look. There's no actual wood grain material, it's plastic. Although it seems to be pretty sturdy, that's a good thing, but just one of those things. You'll also have that silver finish there as well with the door handle and some of the trim. And obviously the armrest is going to be just as comfortable as the rear. And when it comes to the seats here, you're going to find a nice comfortable seat, the Denali logo stitched into the seat back right there. I always wonder why automakers only do that on vehicles like this on the front seats instead of on the rear. So we also have the logo down there on the door sill as well, as Carrie's showing you. So that's nice to know that it's there. We might as well show you just about everything we can. Maybe not everything. We're not going to tell you the torque specs on the lug nuts or the head bolts or anything like that. Although I guess we could. We can make a 25-hour video to cover everything. But when you've had a long, hard day and you're going to be the passenger, grab the front seat, call shotgun because they're heated and ventilated, obviously fully power for the driver and the passenger. And over here with the glove box, a lot of room within that area. Now, something that I'm wondering when the time comes that the Yukon is fully redesigned is, will GMC do what they've done with the Sierras for quite a while, which is have the upper glove box as well, taking advantage of that area right there. There's some space there available. Why not go ahead and use it? What we're going to do is hop over here now to the driver's side and show you the real action, the area of the most important thing for what I think is most of you watching this video.
Carrie here, everybody. We're going to now do a review of the driving area of this Denali. As we get in and close the door, the graphics come on. Very impressive. No sound though. It'd be nice if there was some sound to go with those graphics. Very, very nice. I'm going to go ahead and take the camera from Tom for a second here and show you the driving area of this Denali. Here you have your traditional steering wheel controls, where you can talk to the vehicle right here, your buttons for that, your roller wheel, your Denali emblem, you have your parking area, parking assist, you have parking brake control there, you have lane keep assist, parking aid, 360 camera button, stability control, automatic start stop button, heads up display. This vehicle does have heads up display. We'll show that in a minute. Your info button. Here's your trailer brake control, your dimmer switch, your headlight control switch, and your drive mode button, and your air assist level adjust. And as Tom showed you already, here are the armrest controls for mirrors and windows, door locks, and all those features there. This is a very nice vehicle. We're going to now go ahead and get this vehicle started. Dashboard lights up very nicely. There's heads-up display. Don't know if you can see it there. Yeah, there it is right there. Nice heads-up display, very crystal clear. And now I'll let Tom take over for the center console briefing.
Okay, so something I like to show here is the fact that right up here, you've got a control, and I'm going to let Carrie hold that down, because you have the power center console right here. Oops, that's the wrong button. There you go. You'll notice that goes back. It's a really nice feature, and there's a couple of things that are advantageous of this, because you have the drawer down there, and I'll let Carrie open that drawer so that you can see what's there as far as the space goes. The good thing about it is the fact that when you're in valet mode, they can't actually gain access to this particular area, so that's a good thing. I guess you could hide that away if you wanted to down there, hide your remote away down there if you wanted to. I don't know if I would do that and accidentally get out of the vehicle. Some of these vehicles I've heard, I don't know about the GMCs, but sometimes I've heard people say that some vehicles, you leave the remote inside, it can still lock itself. That's not something you're supposed to have happen. Okay, we switched places. I'm going to finish telling you about what is here. Now, one thing that I want to show you, I'll have Carrie bring the camera over here as best as he can. In fact, he can probably show you right through this area. But I want you to see something here. Let's see if I can get it to come up. We're a little slow. There we go. So here's what we have. We're going to go through, we have display layout right here. See that? If you want to make changes, you can just make changes to specific areas of the dash, or you can go all the way up here and just select different preset looks. So really a pretty neat thing depending on what you like. So if you don't like what you see up there, guess what? You don't have to keep it that way. And the good news is that if you come in and you've done all these changes and you say to yourself, you know what, I really don't like what I see, you can reset to defaults. You can see that down there on the screen right there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do that. We arrow over from no to yes, and there we go. We've gone ahead and made those changes. So just something to know about in case you were curious. Now, the one thing that I know a lot of people have said, yeah, I'm not too crazy about that. Notice you don't have anything here on the right-hand side of the steering column. Maybe there should be a shifter right there, because a lot of you have told me you don't like the push button shifter here. In fact, here's how it works. You obviously will use this a little differently from one section to the next. We pull to go into reverse. We push to go into neutral. We pull to go into drive. And then depending on what you need to do with L down there, you can use that button and make changes appropriately, or push and go back into park. So tell me what you think about that. Just something that's interesting, a little conversation starter. And before we talk about the infotainment screen, there's actually quite a bit going on up here with your upper console. Far beyond just having some lights up there, you can control the functionality of the sunroof that does tilt and slide open. You can control the center console, which is this button right here. We showed you what this is for. You can control a lot of things right there. You can see some of your features right here as well, depending on what you need to use. And the infotainment screen, what do we have there? Well, we have a lot. Obviously, you can pair your smartphone here. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have Google Assistant, so you can say, hey, you know who, and then you can talk to Google that way. I don't want to say that because I'll set devices off in your house. And then we can go to our cameras. You have that overhead 360-degree view, which is very useful in a multitude of situations. And you can change the view on the camera. Now, if you want to know which one of these options has two different views, well, all you do is you see that orange dot right there, and you see the grayed out dot underneath, or we could call it the gray dot. Well, that shows that you have a couple of different options where that's concerned, just to show you what all is here. I mean, you can literally see everything you need to see. It's a large vehicle for those who may have not had something like this before. Well, guess what? It's useful to have all of these cameras, and even if you have had something like this before, it's still useful. And then we can go over here and we'll go into setup. I'll show you a couple of important things here. We'll come back to vehicle here in just a second, but just to show you what all's here, there's everything you need to know as far as where to go for things such as updates and all that kind of stuff. You can manage your connections up there. But if you want to turn off the rear seat reminder and buckle to drive, well, you can do that. I do encourage you to use your seatbelt when you're driving, but if you're just changing parking spaces in a parking lot or something like that, that doesn't need to be on for that. But you can see what else is here. How about some of the safety features that are here? You can change the alert type. You have your automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking. Obviously, adaptive cruise control is here, so you have your adaptive cruise go notifier so that when you're looking at your phone, when you're sitting at a red light, it'll let you know it's time to go when the light turns green. I guess that's what that is. I haven't actually tried that before. We need that for a lot of people. Lane change alert, that's good to have. That way, you'll know if someone's next to you, whatever the case is. Park assist and rear cross traffic, rear pedestrian alert, so that when people are walking by and looking at their cell phones, the same they do when they're sitting at a red light and get distracted, they don't get distracted and get run over by you because you don't know they're there. Yes, it's okay to laugh. In fact, let me go back in here to settings one more time, and we'll go back to vehicle. A couple more things to consider here. How about comfort and convenience? Now, easy exit height. If you turn that on, the vehicle is actually going to lower on the air suspension, and that way you get to make it a little bit easier to get out or get back into the vehicle. And you can see what else is here as far as that goes. It's really pretty easy. You can use what I call the hunt and peck method as far as figuring this stuff out. That's how easy it is to deal with. You don't necessarily need me to tell you about it. Now, power door locks right there. If you need to make changes there, you can do that. You can do delayed door lock or auto door unlock. You can make a lot of changes. There's so much here. That's why I say use the hunt and peck method. Just get in here. I promise there's no ejection button or anything like that, so you're not going to get tossed out of the vehicle. And service mode, you really won't need that, but just to show you what's there because somebody might ask. And then you also saw up here, before we do that, we're going to go to power assist steps. Now here's something that will be helpful. If you wash your own vehicle and you need to deploy those steps, here's how you do it. You just go right there. They're going to stay deployed until you come back here and stow them again. That way, if you've been out somewhere driving and they're dirty and you need to wash those steps, you can do that. You also have your teen driver mode right here that's going to be helpful. If you're teaching your teen how to drive, you can go in and set the code for all of that. And it gives you a lot of different information about what's going on. And last but not least, let's talk about what you'll find down here. You have some simple controls, we'll say, not high-tech stuff, but easy to use. You have the control right there for your volume. You can turn the radio on and off. You can hit the home button right here instead of just hitting it on the screen right there if you want to. And then you see all the other controls that are there. Pretty easy to deal with. And everything for controlling your climate control here in the front seat area. If you want to sync the two sides together, you can do that. Heated seats, 3 stages here for a couple of different options where that's concerned, and one option for the ventilated seats, but you can see that you have 3 there as well. Obviously, it's going to be the same on the driver and the passenger side. And then, if you're saying, well, what about connectivity in the front seat? Well, we have the USB options and the 12-volt power outlet right there. USB-A, USB-C, and your wireless charging pad. And then we also have the cup holders. And something else that's interesting here is that if you want a second wireless charging pad, you can actually buy an aftermarket version right here, and it plugs in, I believe, back in this area. And then inside, there's plenty of space. We showed you the space underneath. Now you see the space within. There is no shortage of storage options within the interior for large and small items. All right, we're hopping out on the road on our test drive. And I'll tell you what, the thing I really like here is how easy this Yukon is to drive. It's a big vehicle, and be it that I'm used to driving a full-size truck every day, that probably helps. But if you're that growing family and you go from, say, a mid-size SUV, maybe a Honda Pilot or something along those lines, or maybe something even smaller, and you said, man, we've got to make the big leap. You might jump from a Honda CR-V to something this size, a full-size SUV. I think it's a very simple leap to make. It might take a little bit of getting used to, but with all of the different technology that you have here, with the cameras and everything here, nice large side view mirrors, you have so much going on that's going to help you with assisting you in driving the vehicle. You really won't know the difference. I don't think it will be that big of a jump, or adjustment, I should say. And obviously, if you're saying, you know what, I want to be able to get down the road when I need to get down the road, well, the 6.2 liter will definitely do it for you. Plenty of power and plenty of get up and go when you need it. We're not going to get on it too hard. Yeah, kind of surprising. Of course, as I like to say, everything is faster from the passenger seat. If you want to know how fast your personal vehicle is, hop in the passenger seat. I did that with Kerry one time with his Range Rover Sport a few years ago. He said he didn't know it was that fast until I drove it. That was funny. So tell me what you think about the 2024 GMC Yukon Denali. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? Tell me what your thoughts are, and tell me if you plan to buy one of these for the 2024 model year. Maybe you're going to wait for a little while and see what comes in the future. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends here at Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this Yukon for the day. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch and giving us the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you haven't subscribed just yet, please be sure to do so. That way you don't miss any future videos. Tell us what else you'd like to see us review. And if you'd like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and we'll see you there.